Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon mga ka-ABC, mga ka-awesome. Welcome back to another episode of Daily Hours where we read, reflect, and respond to the Word of God every night. This is our spiritual feeding. This is how we take care of our spiritual bodies by feasting on God's Word, our daily bread, para mapanatiling masigla natin yung mga spiritual bodies natin. No? And we do this every night. It's such a, parang, ano rin kasi siya, it's a perfect way to end the day. Yung iba matutulog na ng 9 or nagre-relax na ng 9. So, ayun, this is what we do every night. And currently, we are reading from the book of 2 Kings. Yun, and ang mga co-host ko for tonight ay sila Kuya June and Kuya Justin. Kumustahin muna natin sila, syempre. Kuya Justin, how's your Tuesday?
Hello po, hello Kuya O'Neil, hello Kuya Junma, and hello everyone. Happy daily hours ulit, mga ka-awesome, and it's nice to be back. And my Tuesday is chill lang, kasi wala akong class today. And hindi pa kasi ayos yung schedule namin for this sem, kaya hindi pa, wala pa akong classes today. Siguro next week na magsisimula. So chill lang today, I'm good, I'm fine. And everybody else in my family is fine. And I hope you are too. You are guys. So, ayun po.
Yun,
Kumusta
awesome. Well rested si Justin, ayos. What about Kuya June? How was your Tuesday, Kuya?
Yeah, it's great. And the day is great. Dahil may pasok ulit. And then, last few days, nandito yung ating mga bisita from Pasir Panjang. I think nandyan na sila ngayon. Sila Brother Kyle, Brother Peter, Brother David from Geylang, Church of Christ. Then we were energized by their presence last Sunday. And ganun din, yesterday night we have an online with Brother Dan Bushell about his book on mission. So, quite busy days. And God bless sa ating gagawing daily hours.
Alright. Very productive so far yung kay Kuya June naman. So, contrasting, no? So, ayos din magpahinga, pero for Kuya June, solid. Ang daming nangyayari. So, very fruitful. Thank you for the update, mga ka-awesome, mga kapatid, Kuya June. Dito naman sa comments, batiin natin sila dahil bumabati na rin sila. Dito na si Kuya Alvin. Blessed evening, ka-awesome. Blessed evening din sa iyo, ka-awesome. And si Kuya Arnel, awesome evening din sa inyo. Si Kuya Jesse dito na rin, awesome evening, everybody, everyone. And laging late ng mga emoji. And si Tita Kot, pleasant Tuesday night to all. Pleasant Tuesday indeed. And my mom, dito na rin siya. Good evening, awesome believers, sabi niya. So she greets everybody. And of course, ang malakasan nating tagger na si Kuya Arnel, nagtatag na. So go lang, Kuya. Tuloy-tuloy mo lang yan. Ayos. Thank you, Kuya Arnel. Yun. So far sila pa lang nag-greet, but I see a good number of viewers or watchers or listeners. Hello sa inyo. Good evening. Happy Tuesday. And if you are new, welcome to Daily Hours. I hope you stay until the end of the episode. What we do here is we read from the Bible, we reflect from what we've read, and then after that, what happens next? What do we do with what we've read? Yun yung response. Ayun. So, no pressure, lang tayo, laid-back discussion of our insights, comments sa verses na nabasa natin tonight. And tonight, we're going to read from 2 Kings chapter 12, verses 1 to 21. So, that is the entire chapter already. Yun. And nabasa ko na rin siya. Very light topic. So, basahin natin maya-maya. Dito na rin si Kuya Jerry. Kuya Jeremiah, blessed and peaceful evening. Thank you, Kuya Jerry, and si Alvin. Awesome na agad. Let's go! Nice. So, ready na si Kuya Alvin. And that is what we say when we are ready to read. So, mga ka-awesome, kung ready na kayo, type awesome. Sabayan nyo na si Kuya Alvin. And while you do that, syempre, recap muna tayo from last night. Last night, ang napag-usapan yung si Athaliah. Grabe, no? Si Athaliah and si Joash was supposed to be the king. So in chapter 11, verses 1 to 21, si Athaliah yung talagang ang pangit na ugali. Parang ganun kasi ang nakasulat sa kanya dito eh. She killed everyone who would be next to the throne. Nung sa early verses, no? Basahin ko lang para may magandang background. When Athaliah, Ahaziah's mother, saw that her son was dead, she proceeded to annihilate all the royal heirs. She proceeded, kung hindi siya nag-alinlangan, yun yung plano niya. She proceeded to annihilate all of them. And then, Jehosheba, who was King Jehoram's daughter and Ahaziah's sister, secretly rescued Joash, son of Ahaziah. So, tinago nila si Joash because he's the rightful, siya yung susunod eh. So, in verse 3, Joash was hiding with her in the Lord's temple 6 years with Athaliah, while Athaliah reigned over the land. So, Athaliah reigned over the land for 6 years and Joash was hiding in the temple para hindi siya mapatay. And then, in verse 4 onwards, dito na yung na-overthrow na si Athaliah. Kasi talagang ginawa ng king si Joash, ganyan. Tapos may part pa dito na sino kasi yung nagko-command? And so, in the 7th year, Jehoiada, sent the commanders of hundreds, the Carites, and the guards. Kumaga, he ordered them to protect the king, to always have guards within the palace or within the Lord's temple or with the king at all times. Kasi siya dapat ang king and Athaliah will not think twice of killing him. So, binabantayan nila si Joash. Every time, laging guarded yung place. And then, in verse sabi niya sa verse 7, your 2 divisions that go off duty on the Sabbath are to provide the king protection at the Lord's temple. Lord's temple pala. Completely surround the king with weapons in hand. They even used the weapons in the time of David. Diba? Yun. And then, nasa verse 9. Verse 10, the priest gave the commanders of hundreds King David's spears and shields that were in the Lord's temple. Then the guards stood with their weapons in hand, surrounding the king, from the right side of the temple to the left side, by the altar and by the temple. Talagang covered yung king with guards. And then so verse 12, eto na, Jehoiada brought out the king's son, put the crown on him. So naging king na talaga siya dito. Gave him the testimony and made him king. They anointed him and clapped their hands and cried, long live the king. So everybody wanted him to be king. Nobody wanted to side with Athaliah. Of course, because grabe yung hunger niya for power eh. And in verse 13, ito yung 14 pala, yung the audacity to shout treason, di ba? To accuse them of treason. Hello, ikaw yung pamatay ng lahat eh, di ba? Tapos she would accuse them of treason. Parang what's going on inside her head? We don't know, di ba? When you are really drunk with power, with the hunger of that lust for power, it would really twist your morality. It would really twist your perspective on things. So yun yung nangyari kay Athaliah. So verse 13, when Athaliah heard the noise from the guard and the crowd, she went out to the people at the Lord's temple. She looked, and there was the king standing by the pillar according to the custom. The commanders and the trumpeters were by the king, and all the people of the land were rejoicing and blowing trumpets. So they were rejoicing because they now have a new king. And then Athaliah tore her clothes out of grief and screamed, treason, treason. Wow, talaga ba? Then verse 15, then the priest Jehoiada ordered the commanders of hundreds. So Jehoiada ordered the officers to take her out. Kumbaga, meron din kasing she cannot be put to death in the Lord's temple. So they arrested her and they brought her out, and then that's where she was put to death. So may hangganan din yung reign ni Athaliah. So at this time, si Joash na yung king. And then Jehoiada, ito yung pinakamagandang nangyari. Kasi for a while now, ang gulo-gulo ng nangyayari sa kanila. They are really submissive to their king, to the Baals, to the high places, mga ganyan, no? Kumbaga, wala. They turned their backs against the Lord. and they're following their desires. Talagang malayo sila with the Lord. But in verse 17 onwards, Jehoiada made a covenant between the Lord, the king, and the people that they would be the Lord's people again. So, usually every time may bagong king, ginagawa niya to. David did it, Solomon did it, di ba? They refresh the people of why they serve as king. Ayun. They always direct their position, their power of being king to the Lord, na they are king because of them. So Jehoiada was doing that, trying to reform again the people before. And so verse 18, so all the people of the land went to the temple of Baal and tore it down. Binagsak na naman nila to. Ilang beses na, di ba? They always destroy these altars, but they would build them back again, and then they worship the Baals again, at sisirain nila. You can see the cycle that they're going through. So they smashed its altars and images to pieces, and they killed Matan, the priest of Baal, at the altars. And ayun, so far yun yung nangyari. And then so verse 21, ang bata pala ni Joash, no? Joash was 7 years old when he became king. Ayun. So it gives us a perspective, or like a background on how crazy it was before. Na you could rule an entire kingdom even to that age just because you're the heir next to be king. So ang gulo ng buhay noon. And it made me reflect that this is all happening because they chose to have a human king. If you remember, when God's supposed to be the king, but they were asking for a human king, so God gave them Saul. Could you imagine kung they just followed God and God became their king? Ang dali sana, di ba? Because God is the direct command. Pero hindi eh. Meron yung parang mediator nila at that time, which was the king. Kaya nagkakagulo kasi yung mediator nila hindi pure. Diba? Which is now, for us, our perfect king is Jesus. And hindi kasi pumapalya si Jesus. He is perfect. So, we can rest our confidence in that. Ayun. And a lot more insights, comments, and takeaways from last night. You can watch the video dito sa Awesome Believers Cross Facebook page and YouTube channel. Tonight, we're going to proceed with chapter 12. Verses 1 to 21 din. Joash repairs the temple. Yan. So, very light topic. So, we're gonna talk about that in a bit. And batiin lang natin yung mga sumunod na. Ay, nag-awesome na sila, ma. Si Dad. Si Kuya Jesse nag-awesome na din. At si Kuya Arnel, walang sawang pagtatal. Ayos, keep going, Kuya. Alright. So, let's go. And I have also volunteered myself to read the verses tonight. I'm in the mood to read. So, ayun. I invite you mga ka-ABC to have your Bibles with you. Read with us. Para mas malupit, di ba? So, let's go. Chapter 12, verse 1 to 21. Ayan. In the 7th year of Jehu, Joash became king, and he reigned 40 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Zibiah. She was from Beersheba. Throughout the time the priest Jehoiada instructed him, Joash did what was right in the Lord's sight. Yet the high places were not taken away. The people continued sacrificing and burning incense on the high places. Then Joash said to the priests, all the dedicated silver brought to the Lord's temple, census silver from vows, and all silver voluntarily given for the Lord's temple, each priest is to take it from his assessor and repair whatever damage is found in the temple. But by the 23rd year of the reign of King Joash, the priests had not repaired the damage to the temple. So King Joash called the priest Jehoiada and the other priests and asked, why haven't you repaired the temple's damage? Since you haven't, don't take any silver from your assessors. Instead, hand it over for the repair of the temple. So the priests agreed that they would receive no silver from the people and would not be the ones to repair the temple's damage. Then the priest Jehoiada took a chest, bored a hole in its lid, and set it beside the altar on the right side. As one enters the Lord's temple, the priests who guarded the threshold put into the chest all the silver that was brought to the Lord's temple. Whenever they saw there was a large amount of silver in the chest, The king's secretary and the high priest would go bag up and tally the silver found in the Lord's temple. Then they would give the weighed silver to those doing the work, those who oversaw the Lord's temple. They in turn would pay it out to those working on the Lord's temple, the carpenters, the builders, the masons, the stonecutters, and would use it to buy timber and the quarried stone to repair the damage to the Lord's temple and for all expenses for temple repairs. However, no silver, no silver bowls, wick trimmers, sprinkling basins, trumpets, or any articles of gold or silver were made for the Lord's temple from the contributions brought to the Lord's temple. Instead, it was given to those doing the work, and they repaired the Lord's temple with it. No accounting was required from the men who received the silver to pay those doing the work, since they worked with integrity. The silver from the guilt offering and the sin offering was not brought to the Lord's temple, since it belonged to the priests. At the time, King Hazael of Aram marched up and fought against Gath and captured it. Then he planned to attack Jerusalem, so King Joash of Judah took all the items consecrated by himself and by his ancestors, Judah's kings Jehoshaphat, Jehoram, and Ahaziah, as well as all the gold found in the treasuries of the Lord's temple and in the king's palace, and he sent them to King Hazael of Aram. Then Hazael withdrew from Jerusalem. The rest of the events of Joash's reign, along with all his accomplishments, are written in the historical record of Judah's kings. Joash's servants conspired against him and attacked him at Beth Millo, on the road that goes down to Silla. It was his servants, Jozabad, son of Shimeath, and Jehozabad, son of Shomer, who attacked him. He died and they buried him with his ancestors in the city of David, and his son, Amaziah, became king in his place. Ayun. And that is our reading for tonight. And napansin natin, it focuses on the repairs of the temple, and then about the priest, their duties, tapos nag-hire na rin sila ng carpenters. There was something na describe about those who were looking after the repairs, the money as well, no? Ayun. So, before I call on Kuya Jun, na si Kuya Jun, mga ka-awesome, looking forward to your comments as well, your insights, anong napansin nyo, possible principles we can learn from our reading tonight. Type them down. I will read them to everyone in a bit. Ayun. So, Kuya Jun, what are your initial observations from our reading?
Now again, for initial observation, so Joash became king, and we can notice that this king nagsimula with very good intention and very good standing in the eyes of the Lord. So verse 2 sabi, Joash did what was right in the eyes of the Lord all the years Jehoiada the priest instructed him. Siguro, minsan lang natin mabasa to, no? Sa mga kings of Israel and even kings of Judah, that this king did what was right in the eyes of the Lord. Especially with the writer of this Second Kings, for him, kung lalaki man ang nagsulat, na si Joash ay mabuting hari. And very unlikely sa Chronicles, iba yung pagkasulat, no? Particularly in the last part of the reign of King Joash. But here, sa kanyang pagpapasimula, he is righteous in the eyes of the Lord. And his plan to repair the temple ay nandun, no? Nandun yung kanyang pagnanais, no? But nandun na rin, meron na rin insinuation, and there is a problem because in verse 3, the high places, however, were not removed. The people continued to offer sacrifices and burn incense there. Though meron siyang pagnanasa na ma-repair yung temple as the centralized worship, merong mga high places na kung saan nagiging place of worship rin ng Israel, ng Jerusalem people, ng Judean people. And usually, pag sinabing high places, hindi lang si Yahweh yung sinasamba roon. High places are the places for the idols. So, nandun pa rin yung idea that the primary God na sasambahin ay si Yahweh, pero pwede pa rin sumamba. May option pa rin sa mga sasamba sa mga Diyos-Diyosan, merong available high places. Ayun yung maaaring mapapansin natin sa verse 3. Why not King Joash concentrate na doon sa temple? At sa mga following verses, makikita natin that nagkaroon ng collection. Joash said to the priest, collect all the money. Money collected from census, from personal vows, and money brought voluntarily or different kinds of giving. May personal vow, may voluntary money, may money collected from census. Ibibigay doon sa priest to repair the temple. But what's happened is, for many years, walang nangyaring repaired. Maging itong mga priest na ito, parang wala na ring amor sa pagpapatayo o pag-repair sa temple. We have noticed na ilang beses na laging nagigiba yung templo, laging object of judgment even by the prophets. And right now, these priests, titingnan din natin sa mga message ng ibang mga prophet, these priests are busy of doing other things and hindi na pinapakailaman yung templo. So King Joash decided na why not yung mga specialist na lang for repair, sila na ang gagawa, hindi na itong mga priests. So all this collection ay kinuha so that it will be handed over for the repairing of the temple sa pamagitan ng mga mason and carpenters. So sila nang papagawain. So that's what's happened here in these passages, first part na ito. Then the man appointed, sa verse 11, the man appointed to supervise the work on the temple, with it they paid those who work on the temple of the Lord, the carpenters and the builders, the mason and stone cutters. They purchased timbers, block, and dressed stone for the repairs of the temple of the Lord, and met all other expenses for restoring the temple. Meron tayong mapapansin. I think the principle here in collection, nandun yung prinsipyo, yung collection pala magagamit din pala for the repair of the physical temple. For the repair para sa pananambahan. Yung collection pala, pwedeng gamitin din pala na pambayad sa mga karpentero, sa mga mason na gumagawa sa ating physical temple. And right now, the physical temple that we have, yung bahay-sambahan natin. I think may insight doon, no? Na itong pera, hindi lang lagi sa ministro. Itong pera pwede rin ibigay, gamitin sa mga physical na pangangailangan. Meron pa ring insight na marami rin palang uri ng giving noon, which is we can have a principle to be taken from this example. Merong mga personal giving, merong mga census giving, what do you call that? So, general kind of giving, may ritualized kind of giving, may yearly giving. So, So that's why yung ibang mga churches ginamit din ito, no? But the point is, there's a lot of kind of giving in the Bible. Hindi lang yung every Sunday giving. Tapos na. Nandito makikita natin may personal giving pala. Meron palang giving na para sa mga karpentero, sa mga mason na gagawa ng chapel or ng temple at this time, no? Then lastly, my insight here is for this passage is parang puro repair yung naisip niya. Unlike sa mga intention din ng paggawa ng temple as golden temple na nababalot sa ginto at pilak, walang ganun na nangyari, no? Sa verse 13, the money brought into the temple was not spent for making silver basin with creamers, sprinkling bowls, trumpets, or any other articles of gold or silver for the temple of the Lord. Instead, yung mga money na nakolekta was paid for workers who used to repair the temple. Parang yung repair na nasa isip ng king is not so glorious, unlike with David and King Solomon. Na kung ayusin nila yung temple o establish nila yung temple, it will be covered with gold or silver. Pag tinignan mo sa malayo yan, kumikinang, it's shining like gold sa malayo. Sabi ng mga observers noon, pero parang yung araw nasa Jerusalem, kumikinang. And I think that's my insight for that passage.
Thank you, Kuya June. And napansin ko din yun na most ng meron sila, pinangbabayadan nila. So, naalala ko lang ulit na before that, during the time of Solomon, God gave him everything, wisdom, honor, respect, and riches. Pero because of sa mistake din na commit nila, no, dito ko parang naramdaman ko dito yung wala na yung riches. They don't have enough to make the temple as glamorous as it was before. So, ito na talaga yung nararamdaman na nila ditong part na to, yung paghihirap because of God's discipline, because of all their mistakes and all of their sins in the past. So talagang God can really give them, can give us, diba? And He can also take everything away. So siya yung may control of all of that. So let's not take it for granted, ganyan. And ngayon, kumbaga nakikita ko is kung anong meron sila, inaalagaan na lang nila. Because that's what they have now. Yun na lang talaga ang meron sila. So, ang naisip ko naman na principle doon is that, or realization is sayang. Sayang. Kasi nung meron sila, hindi nila inalagaan. Naging greedy sila, di ba? Ngayon naman na wala na, sana mas marami pa sana. Kaso, hindi nila naalagaan ng maayos. So, may solid na rin yung realization, yung sayang. Sa huli, yung pagsisiksi, di ba? Ayun. So, thank you for the insights, Kuya June. And since wala pang nagko-comment, ang insights nila, what about Kuya Justin? What have you noticed?
So, ayun, no? So, dito sa verses natin tonight, we have read about yung paghari ni Joash, and yung tumatatak pa rin sa akin na he was 7 years old when he became king. And mapapansin din natin dito sa mga unang verses natin na sinabi niya dito sa verse 2, throughout the time of the priest of Jehoiada instructed him, Joash did what was right to the Lord's sight. So parang ang kukuha kong insight dito is pag hindi naman talaga nakabase yung wisdom natin sa age natin or sa age natin, kasi there are a lot of factors na could affect our wisdom, and nakikita natin dito na even though he was young, he was able to do what is right in the Lord's eye, right? And yung isa ding na isip kong verse about that is yung nasa First Timothy 4 verse 12 na don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. Kasi minsan we tend to judge or parang namamaliit natin yung mga mas bata sa atin to the point na hindi niya pa alam yung ginagawa niyan and all that. Pero age kasi is not a measure pagdating sa wisdom and righteousness. But we can also see here na Joash became good in the eyes of the Lord with the help of Jehoiada, or someone has instructed him, or priest Jehoiada instructed him. Dito din bumapasok yung role ng mga siguro older people, kasi I assume kasi di ba si priest Jehoiada is older than Joash naman, and dito natin makikita yung role ng isang nakakatanda to guide and to instruct yung mga mas nakakabata or to anyone who needs help generally, di ba? Kasi yun naman talaga yung goal natin, to help each and everyone to reach the finish line naman, di ba? And ayun, and for that part, dito naman tayo sa may temple. What we need to understand here first is that kasi sa time nila, they were putting much importance sa temple kasi it is like the parang most sacred place, ganyan. It is where they glorify God, ganyan. And they were instructed to build this temple to naalagaan itong temple na ito, na pagyamanin itong temple na ito, because at their context or at this point in time sa binabasa natin, temple is playing a big role sa faith nila, no? And sa atin naman, it is not the physical temple na we are trying to improve, or hindi na siya yung binibigyan natin ng pinaka-importance, yung top priority, kasi dito sa pinabasa natin, physical temples, parang ito yung pinaka-top priority nila eh. And sa context natin today, or sa ating mga modern day Christians, it is not the same anymore. It is not parang hindi na siya yung, kasi hindi naman na tumitingin ang ating Panginoon sa bahay-sambahan natin kung malaki ba ito, kung it was grand, kung it was shiny, it was painted with gold, and etc. No? But we are instructed to take care of our bodies because it is our modern day temples. And just like these people na King Joash was putting much importance to the temple, physical temple, we are also to our temples of today. Itong mga katawan natin, we should be parang putting much importance in improving, in repairing if there's a need to repair, ganyan. And ayun, yun lang yung gusto kong i-set sa ating mind, na baka kasi hindi na tayo masyadong nakaka-relate sa temple na sinasabi dito, but there are itong mga body natin is our modern day temple. And back to the story, makikita natin dito na yung mga offerings were there, yung mga isang part nun is for the repair of the temple. And King Joash gave them enough time, gave the priest enough time to do their work, to prepare what is needed to be prepared. Pero 23 years have passed, pero wala pa rin nangyayaring pang-repair. And dito natin, ang nakikita kong ma-learn natin from that is that just like Joash, parang ang nakita ko kasi dito is Joash gave them the time to, or parang chance ganon, to do their work, to repair what is needed to be repaired. Pero 23 years have passed, walang nangyari. And sa ating mga modern day Christians, no, parang ang nakikita kong lesson is God is giving us enough time to follow Him, to go back to Him kung lumayo tayo sa landas, ganyan. Kasi nakita natin dito, I'm sure nakita naman ni King Joash na year by year yan, walang nangyayari, pero hindi niya kinonfront but yung mga priests, but King Joash gave them enough time to do their work. And just like us today, God is giving us enough time to do what is good, to do what is right, yung kung ano yung gusto ng ating Panginoon, and He is giving us enough time to do that. And wag sana po nating antayin na yung time na yun ay umabot sa 23 years or sa time na hindi na natin pwedeng gawin yung mga dapat nating gawin. Kasi by this time na 23 years na ang nakalipas, madami na dapat silang nagawa but wala pa rin progress. And dumating yung time na kailangan na talagang i-confront ni King Joash ang itong mga priest na ito. And wag din po natin sanang hintayin na dumating yung time na yun na i-confront din tayo ng ating Panginoon na hindi natin nagagawa yung mga kailangan nating gawin. So, ayun po muna for the first part.
Awesome. Thank you, Kuya Justin. Emphasis on time, no? Hindi rin talaga natin hawak yung oras. So, while we can, and while we still can, because our youthfulness, our pagiging malakas natin, it's gonna go away. So while we can do everything now, do everything now. And good emphasis as well on the temple, no? Now, yes, we still have those temples, where we gather, diba? It's still very important. Let's take care of where we gather as the church, as God's people. Pero hindi na ganito. Totoo yung sinabi ni Justin na hindi na dapat gumiginto-ginto. Dapat masyadong maganda, ganun. Okay na yung sakto lang, di ba? Because what we are supposed to focus on is us and the church, the congregation, the people that are in it. Because God does not dwell. Sa kanila kasi noon, the temple is the dwelling place of God. But for us now, God dwells among us. When we gather, Jesus is there. Christ is with us through His people. So, we focus on each other. We build each other up. Diba? We edify one another. Kaya puro ganun yung principles na tinuturo sa New Testament. We build up each other. Protect each other's faith and well-being. Mga ganun. Hindi na yung temple na dapat may ganito. Naalala nyo nung binuo nila yung temple, napaka-specific, diba? New Testament, wala na eh. Because sa New Testament naman, it focuses on how to build each other up. Because we are now the temple. So, the comparison is just amazing how it was written as well. Tapos isang napansin ko lang dito, dagdag ko lang, no? The contrast between the priest and the workers. Itong mga priest, they were given, diba, 23 years. Walang nagawa, walang nangyari. While dito sa isang verse ba yun, 15 na tayo, yung mga workers naman na hindi na sila kailangang i-account. Sabi doon, there was no accounting needed because they worked with integrity, something like that. Somewhere here. Hanapin nyo lang mga ka-awesome. So ito mga to, they would give the weight silver to those doing the work. So those who oversaw the Lord's temple. Ito yung mga the carpenters, the builders, masons, stone cutters. Ayan. So sila yung binabayaran. Pero hindi na in account. Usually they would still account everything that's being paid, lahat ng lumalabas na silver and gold, mga ganyan, di ba? Nasa ano yun eh, numbers, or basta, numbers I think. Everything was very specific. But for them, hindi na kailangan because they worked with integrity. Though hindi naman naging, sabi dito sa Bible ko, hindi naman naging dishonest yung mga priest. Hindi naman sila nagnakaw. Hindi lang nila ginampanan yung role nila. Siguro hindi na nila kaya or matatanda na rin siguro. Hindi ko alam. Di ba? Or for whatever reason, they did not do their job. Pero just the comparison between the priest and the workers. Ayun, sa verse 15 daw sabi ni Kuya June. Ayun! No accounting was required from the men who received the silver to pay those doing the work, since they worked with integrity. So, di mo na kailangan bantayan. So, di ba, parang nakaka-believe. And working with integrity, we can reflect on that as in everything. We can practice integrity in everything. Hindi lang sa office, not only with money, di ba? Not only with money and material things. Mas lalo sa pagiging Kristiyano natin, working or living with integrity is that when we call ourselves Christians, we live like Christians. We don't just call ourselves Christians. We don't just label ourselves Christians na pag sinabing may nakalagay sa application form, religion. Christian. Hindi lang siya pang ganon. It is a lifestyle and we live by it. And then that's how we develop integrity in us. We know our morality. We know what the right thing to do. We do it with integrity. Ayun. So, pukpukin ko lang ng konti yung trait or characteristic na yun na integrity. Very important for us Christians. Ayun. So, usog na tayo dito sa invasion. So, apparently, they were invaded by the Arameans. And baka may insight dito si Kuya June.
Okay, for the second part, invasion ng Arameans. Kung mabasahin natin, verse 17 to 18. About this time, Hazael, king of Aram, went up and attacked Gath and captured it. Then he turned to attack Jerusalem. But Joash, king of Judah, took all the sacred objects dedicated by his predecessors, Jehoshaphat, Jehoram, and Ahaziah, the kings of Judah, and the gifts he himself dedicated, and all the gold found in the treasuries of the temple of the Lord and of the royal palace. He sent them to Hazael, king of Aram. Meron palang gold. Meron palang treasures. Bakit sa repair, walang ganun? Meron pala natatago mga gold. Nung inatake na sila ng Aramean king, meron pala siyang pwedeng ibigay. Nagbayad siya at ginamit niyang pambayad yung mga gold na nasa temple, yung mga precious gold sa temple. Para lang hindi sila kubkubin ni King Hazael. And this is one problem. No? Pag sa Panginoon, okay na yung mga collection, yung kayang pwedeng personal giving, mga census giving, at kung ano-ano pang giving. Pero meron naman palang gold. I think that's a problem minsan sa atin. Pag sa mga maliitang repair ng chapel, pwede na yan. Wag magpapagawa ng chapel, pwede na yan. Pero yung ibang mga sinasabi natin mga simbahan, pag nagpagawa ng chapel, parang castle, nakakalula. Pero pag tayo gumawa ng chapel, parang pang-squatter. pwede na yan. Pwede na yung mga karpentero gumawa din, mga mason. Hindi na kailangan ng engineer, hindi na kailangan ng architect. Basta makagawa. Tayo naman importante. May mga ganong extreme, no? May extreme na parang ang sentro na lang ng buhay, yung chapel. Paggawa ng napakalaking chapel. Pero sa loob, ilan-ilan na lang sila, parang sa Europe. May iba naman ang extreme. Walang chapel. For 30 years, for 60 years, yung chapel nila parang barong-barong pa rin. Nakakabigat din ng puso yun. No? Pag nagtra-travel ka, ibang church, parang kastilyo yung chapel nila. Pag Church of Christ, nakasulat lang sa kahoy yung direction Church of Christ. At nung nilusob na sila ng kaaway, meron palang gold, meron palang mga silver, and meron palang mga treasure na pwedeng pambayad para hindi sila digmain ng kanilang kalaban na si Hazael. And this is a problem with, natatagong problem ni King Joash, no? Kaya may question, bakit sinabi ng writer na doon na Joash did what was right in the eyes of the Lord all the years. All the years. Pero yung pala, all the years Jehoiada the priest instructed him. Hindi talaga sa buong buhay niya. Habang natuturuan siya ni ng priest na yun na si Jehoiada, na naging faithful siya. And it's possible na may time na hindi na siya nakikinig kay Jehoiada. Meron siyang natatagong na para sa kanya, mahalaga yung gold. Itong mga barya-barya pwede yung pambayan. So dumating na yung kanyang tinatagong treasure na yan, pinambayad niya na sa kaaway. And that's, I think, problem. And the principle is we can make glorious work, glorious. We can build gloriously in the eyes of the Lord if our hearts we can give totally for Him. I think meron si Joash, but not totally. Not totally. He can repair the temple, pero nandun pa rin yung high places. Kaya in the last part, no? Why is it, kung talagang good siya, merong mag-conspire sa kanya para patayin siya? Jehoshaphat, Jehoram, Ahaziah, the kings of Judah. Where is it? Verse 20, his official conspired against him and assassinated him at Beth-Mil on the road down to Selah. Kaya kung i-compare natin sa that Second Chronicles, iba yung pagka-describe kay Joash. At first, mabuti, but on the last, yung mga tao nahirapan na rin sa kanya, probably with these taxes of giving, and for that, he was killed and assassinated. So I think that's my what do you call that for Joash.
Thank you, Kuya Jun. And true, no, dun sa bandang huli, inassassinate siya. Actually, dito sa record sa Second Kings, nabanggit na rin ni Kuya Jun, kulang to about Joash. Meron pa siyang record sa Second Chronicles, and nahanap ko siya sa chapter 24, verse 17 onwards. May mga, hindi siya all the way na parang si Jehoshaphat or David na good king till death. Nagkamali din siya. So, doon nakalagay sa Second Chronicles. Ayan. And you can read it, mga ka-awesome. May record pa siya doon of what else he did in his life. So, dito, pinatay siya. Umabot siya sa point na naging parang tumalikod siya sa Diyos. So, he became evil. So, he was killed by evil people, which is very common sa mga nababasa natin no, na pagka napapalayo na sila, yun ang nagiging ending nila, namamatay sila not in a glorious way. So, yun. And, Kuya Justin, what about you? Baka may insight ka pa dyan bago tayo mag-takeaways.
So, dito sa second part ng ating reading for tonight, we have read na inatake sila, no? And according sa commentary na nabasa ko, it was to punish King Joash for his wrongdoings, parang ganun, no? Kasi, yun nga, kagaya ng sabi ni Kuya O'Neil, there were records of, parang disobedience sa part ni King Joash. Sa kanyang reign, hindi lang siya nabanggit sa ating reading for tonight. Nag-skip kasi siya dito sa part na to eh, dito sa may attack na agad. So, it was sent by God for King Joash to be punished sa kanyang disobedience. And that's very recurrent na nangyayari. No? Parang paulit-ulit siyang nangyayari pag may nagagawang mali. There is this punishment na kapalit. No? Just like for the other, mga previous kingdoms, or previous kings, they were punished for their disobedience sa mga hindi nila pagsunod sa Panginoon. And it's very sad for King Joash kasi he was able to give up the treasuries of the Lord. No? Yung treasuries na ng previous kings like Jehoshaphat, Jehoram, Ahaziah, and all, as well as the gold found in the treasuries of the Lord's temple. Parang ang nakikita ko kasing dito is like he was willing to give up the things na important sa kanya or important sa Panginoon, kasi hindi lang naman ito basta treasures lang eh, hindi lang din to basta gold lang. It was dedicated for the Lord, and he used that to send Hazael away instead of trusting God. Kasi diba, parang nakikita ko kasi dito, he took parang he found ways on his own to solve the problem. Though he solved the problem, he sent Hazael away from Jerusalem. Na-achieve naman niya yung gusto niyang gawin. Pero the thing na kulang dito is yung trust niya sa Panginoon. Diba? Pag nasa punishment siya, this army, yung pag-attack sa kingdom nila is done to, or is sent by God for them to be punished. Pero during that punishment, he could have just surrendered it to the Lord. Parang he could have asked the Lord for some help instead of, parang wala kasing nangyaring dito eh, consultation with God. Ganon. Na parang hindi siya humingi ng tulong sa Panginoon. And maybe because hindi na rin niya yun naisip kasi he was parang overtaken by evil. Kasi yung kaya nga sila napapunish at this point in time kasi they were disobedient, no? And yun lang. So sad lang na dumating siya sa point na kinaya niyang i-give up yung treasures ng temple and yung mga treasures ng previous kings. And wag din po sana tayong dumating sa ganung point na kailangan natin i-give up yung faith natin, kasi parang ang nakikita ko dito, pinagpalit niya yung temple or yung treasures ng temple sa comfort. And most of the time, pag may mga Christians na nahihirapan sa mga Christian duties, they tend to give up for their comfort. Diba? Kasi pag hindi ka Christian, hindi ka naman kailangang pumunta sa 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 church every Sunday, or wala kang obligation na parang magturo or mag-evangelize, ganyan. And they tend to give up because of that for comfort. And yun yung nakikita ko dito na na comparison. Kasi oo nga, na paalis niya yung mga kalaban. Pero he gave up naman yung pinaka-important na or one of the important things sa kingdom nila, which is the temple or the treasures of the temple. So, ayun po.
Mismo no, Justin. Lalo ano to, consecrated ba? Consecrated items consecrated by himself. So it's really for the Lord. Kaso he failed to have faith. So yun yung delikado eh. Sana sinunod niya yung yapak nila. Ito mga to, yung mga parang ninakawan niya. Sila Jehoshaphat, yan. Diba na, may problema. Tara, magtanong tayo sa pare, diba? And ang advisor pa niya dito si Jehoiada, who is a good one. Sayang. So, ayun, we can see that, sabi nga ni Kuya Jun, hindi buo yung loob niya na pagsunod sa Diyos. Because, pinaayos niya yung temple, pero he still also kept those high places. So we can see na hindi pa rin pure. Ayun, meron pa rin reservations. Ayun. Thank you, Kuya Justin and Kuya Jun. Now we're headed to our takeaways for tonight. Responses, mga ka-awesome, ano naman ang responses or takeaways nyo for tonight, type them down and share with us tonight anong mga babaunin nyo after his reflection. So, unahin kong tanungin si Kuya Jun for his takeaways and responses.
Takeaways and responses. Yes, gaya nga yung nasabi kanina. You will serve the Lord and worship Him only. Wala nang ibang high places. Siya lang dapat. An adoration, reverence, and worship of your heart. May isang trono lang. Wala nang pasubali. Pag hindi effective doon naman ako sa kabila. Siya lang yung power. Siya lang yung source. Siya lang yung force. And siya lang yung subject of our worship. Then next, yung last, if we will work for the Lord, for His kingdom, for His temple, we give it all. Tama na yung pabarya-barya lang na pwedeng ilusot sa butas. Ibigay na lahat. Dahil sa kanya naman galing yan. It's dedicated for Him. Give it all to Him, for His glory. Dahil kung i-glorify natin siya, itataas din naman niya tayo. And because we serve the King and we are the servants of this King and for His glory. And I think that's the two takeaways na nakita ko dyan sa passage niya.
Yun. Thank you, Kuya Jun. And what about Kuya Justin?
So for my takeaways for tonight, just as like these people na in the beginning, they put much importance sa kanilang mga temple. Just gayon din po sana sa atin, na we put much importance sa ating temple of the day, which is the body of Christ or the church or the people. Let us build one another, nourish one another, and we can we can achieve things together para makapunta tayo sa finish line together. Pero ang na-notice din natin dito sa ating reading tonight na though at the beginning they were so in it for the temple to the point na nag-appoint si Joash ng taga-repair just to give it up at the end. Kasi at the end of this reading, nakita natin na Joash gave the treasuries of the temple, even the treasuries of the king, consecrated ones. So ang takeaway ko for tonight is let us not build and repair our temple just to give it up at the end. Dapat tuloy-tuloy lang tayo. Kasi kung maganda nga yung simula natin, tapos mag-give up naman pala tayo at the end, that's not a good thing. Kaya dapat tuloy-tuloy lang po. Yun po.
Yun. Thank you, Kuya Justin. So, pag pinagsama natin yung takeaways ng mga ka-awesome ko dito, mga kapatid ko, yung kay Kuya Jun, all in Hindi dapat yung bare-bare lang. So, when we do that, and then yung kay Justin, we serve, we build each other up. Full effort, diba? And we finish strong, hindi yung start strong, tapos bibigay lang tayo sa huli. So, dapat tuloy-tuloy. And, kaya yan kasi sama-sama naman tayo dito. That's why we have the church, we have our brothers and sisters, we have the fellowship to help us finish the race strong. So, yun, solid na takeaways. Dito naman si Kuya Arnel, the takeaway niya for tonight, currently the temple of God is us. Let's make Him clean our hearts and always correct His motive, praise Him and worship Him from our hearts, even if there are many obstacles related. So, yun, always stay close to God because yun, we can keep our each one strong, no? Pero kung hindi pa rin siya yung sentro ng buhay natin, lahat tayo magkakasama, wala rin, mawawatak-watak din tayo because He is the glue. Diba? Our faith, He is our faith in Him. He is our foundation. So, yun. Still, yeah, we look after each other, but we also ask help from above. Thank you for this, Kuya Arnel. Yun. And looks like that's it. That's our episode for tonight. And kung wala ng takeaways, wala na mag-comment. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight, reading, reflecting, and responding with us. Thank you ulit, Kuya June and Kuya Justin, for being with me tonight here on stream. Ayun, si Kuya June. And bukas ulit, tuloy natin basahin itong Book of 2 Kings. Same time, 9 p.m. onwards, dito pa rin sa Awesome Believers Cross Facebook page and YouTube channel. And as always, stay healthy, stay awesome, stay with Jesus, and let's continue to shine the light of Jesus wherever we may be, and may His love be seen in us wherever we are. So God bless. Good night. Of course, don't forget to pray. Bye.